Any injuries, I want you to come over and give me a detailed rundown.
I can tell you where we're at if you want.
Why isn't Kirkwood playing?
Rib, rib injury. Due back just in time to pick in if he's
Yeah, alright, we'll target the rib.
By then they'll be fully healed.
Once the game starts.
Yeah, I've seen your station operation go out from that farm, so I know exactly what your attack is. Pretty low. Just going line, is it?
Yes. Your opinions always go live, Barry, you know that.
Yeah, I'm watching look after next farm on one day.
Well, if he's got any ribs, he wasn't going low. It wasn't low. Yeah, well, if he's got shoulder, he wasn't going low.
And I did have a look at the male medals and the thing. You do a wonderful job, Marcus.
Stop lying.
No, you do.
Go back, get back
I
to
had
the
2 weeks off on COVID. I listened to this 2 weeks in a row.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm now your greatest critic and also your greatest
Yeah,
fan.
I've always been my greatest critic. Well, I guess so, but he's at least top 10. Because I cop it from him.
Surely you're not on the Bundy doing this. That's just to remind you of an ad.
No, this is just to remind me that I need to keep myself hydrated. As an elite athlete, hydration is very important.
Yes, we speak about it all the time, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. As an elite athlete, I do have to keep hydrated.
Well, there you go. I'll tell you the story about, AJ Pryor.
Yeah.
And about that 1 in 25 limitation. And he comes up to me, he says, I have this many beers after thing. And I says, beer's diuretic, you better have 2 more.
Yeah, but anyone who comes up with an injury, I want to know.
I will. I'll keep you informed.
Welcome to today's live stream match of the day, coming to you live from Kapunda Oval. Beautiful Dutton Park in magnificent condition for this game between Kapunda and Tanunda. Joining me in commentary today, we've got one of the league directors, Matt Ryan. Matt, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks, Teeks. Yeah, the oval does look in good condition. It looks like it's just the centre circle looks like it's got a bit of mud in it, but the rest of the ground looks like it's holding up quite well.
Considering the rain we've had in the last 7 days, it's come up beautifully. The curators have done a great job. And as we see the players starting to head to their positions now.
Looks like Kapunda are kicking to the left of screen.
Uphill slightly here at Kapunda, if you can notice that on your screen.
But
and
with the aid of a breeze, though, it looks like the breeze is heading towards the left of screen slightly.
Yes, it was probably the scoring end during the reserves match, which was won by Tanunda in the last quarter.
Yeah, very close game. And unfortunately for the Kapunda guys, they just got done again.
Unfortunate because it was club legend Adam Turrell's 250th senior game.
Yeah, the big Tuz, he'll be celebrating hard tonight. 250 games, and we'll probably hear about most of them tonight. All the good ones anyway.
I'm sure we will. Even the bad ones will come out tonight. And all here in the A grade today, Ben Biaggi from Tanunda celebrating 100 senior games.
Yep, that's a great effort here. I think it looks like he's lining up in this close wing, so good luck to Ben today.
Yeah, we're watching him closely. Siren goes to start this game.
Umpire Murch throws the ball up, and Whistler and Falkenberg go at it.
Whistler gets the first tap straight down, and we're going to see a lot of this, especially early in the game. A lot of strong tackling and balls just being held up. Neither team wanting to give an inch.
Ruckman go at it again.
Whistler with another clean tap, but goes away to Tanunda. Quick clearance.
Does look like it's slippery underfoot there as Fraser Smith and Jai McKenzie battle for it. And the umpire's called for a ball up. Looks like umpire Hickenbottom and umpire Murch umpiring today in this big clash. Ball scrappy on the ground on Tanunda's half-forward line.
Neither plot team able to get the ball out into space. Probably neither team really wants to get it out into space at the moment.
No, they're just sizing each other up at the moment, so we'll see a bit of close checking around the footy as well. And that looks
Ball
like
up and a high tackle, so it'll be free kick going to Tanunda's way.
Lockie Earl's going to take the kick. He's probably nearly within range with this breeze, but he has passed off.
Looking for a lead deep in the pocket, unable to take it.
Kapunda are clearing through Dew along the close wing. Ball goes just over Callum Brown's head. And
Finds John Greenslade, one of the key recruits for the Pies this year.
Dowse centres the ball well to Westhoff. Westhoff's got plenty of room here.
Westhoff just setting up beautifully off half-back. Probably not the best kick.
I think it was a good hand in there from Kapunda captain Max Neville.
Max Neville, handy inclusion for the Bombers this week. It's been out for a couple of weeks.
Certainly is, but Kapunda did lose a couple this morning as well through the flu, and there's been a free picked out. Looks like umpire Hickenbottom's called holding the ball, and it looks like young Joel Griffiths will have a set shot for goal, probably 40 metres out.
He's definitely within range. He's got a good kick. This wind and the accuracy is going to be the only question. But you mentioned a couple of outs for Kapunda. Couple of really interesting ins for the Bombers with Jason McKenzie pulling on the boots today, the veteran coach.
Yes, when they had a very late out, so Jason McKenzie did have his gear here, so he's going to sit on the bench today and maybe come on and maybe can go down to the goal square and probably pull Matt Westhoff out of the play a bit if that does happen.
That would be a really interesting clash.
Because Tanunda don't look like they've got a heap of tools.
Kapunda with a big clearing kick from the back line. Ball almost lands in the Tanunda player's arms.
It's a good tackle there from Watke on the outer side.
Harry Watke growing in stature every week. Was sensational last week in the win over Anguston. And is really growing into a very key part of this Kapunda team.
As we see another ball up on the far side.
Another tackle straight away. And a quick shout out for Damien McGee and the crew at the Exchange Hotel tuning in today. I popped in there last night for a couple of refreshing ales, and he said he was probably going to be popping us up on the big screen in the Exchange today.
Yep, we'll have a good time down at the Exchange, have a nice cold beer and enjoy the footy.
And have a great feed in Murray's as well. Some beautiful food, some beautiful beers on tap, and great service.
As Fraser Smith has the ball, that's a good handball.
Beautiful handball off.
And it looks like a goal to Isaac Feltus there, who gets the first one
Young
of the day.
Feltus, he's a player that I've been expecting to pop up today. He's very strong physically over the footy, and despite some physical pressure, he was able to get his kick away.
You just saw the ball carried a lot further to the left-hand side of the screen there, and the Tanunda player Fraser Smith read it really well and flicked out a great handball, which allowed Isaac Smith to have time and space to run into an open goal.
And Tanunda with the first goal of the match, brought to you by Ray White Craigmore, the premiership team in real estate in the northern suburbs, Matt. Ball back in the middle now.
Ruckman go at it as Whistler gets a quick handball out to Brad Williams. Williams kicks Kapunda forward.
And ends up in a scrum at centre-half forward for the Bombers. So we'll have a ball up almost at the true centre-half forward position. Ball breaks out to this side.
Mudge kicks the ball forward for Kapunda.
Brad Valentine unable to work his opponent under the footy.
Looks like Riley Nevitt gets a quick handball back. Oh, and Harry Watke looks like he's been taken high, and the umpire must have been blindsided.
And then possibly in the back as well. But umpire caught out with a few players between him and that contest.
Bit of push and shove in the Kapunda forward line here. As Whistler wins the ball down to Borg. And Borg comes up with the footy.
And clear tap for Falkenberg. Comes out back to it. Tanunda player clears to this outer wing. Biaggi picks it up beautifully with a quick spin. Gets the ball forward by hand.
As young Griffiths takes the ball and is tackled straight away from Kapunda's Tyrone Malira, and the umpire calls the ball to be his own. Whistler goes for it again with Falkenberg.
Falkenberg
gets over
coming
the top.
from behind gets the hit.
Well read
Quick
by
handball off to Colhoun. That's a beautiful kick forward to Smith, who ended up only being able to go one-handed at it.
And the ball gets kicked out of bounds on the full. See Kapunda taking the kick from the very full back line. Looks like Harry Watke.
Drives the ball long into the wind. Clear mark taken for Tanunda.
Young Brett Dowse, I
Brett
believe.
Dowse, very good across half-back, but he's pushed up as part of the zone. He passes off to another teammate inside the forward 50.
I reckon that's Sam Colquhoun with the ball there now, so we'll just see how strong this breeze is.
And Sam would back himself from here. He'll try and read the wind.
So Colquhoun's kicking from goal. He's probably going to have to kick it from just outside 50, but he is kicking with the breeze favouring him. He kicks it high and he kicks it wide. As the ball goes out of bounds on the full. Didn't even give it a chance there, Teeks.
That's a little surprising. I thought he might have been able to read that one. But, so that's Tanunda with an early start. 1-1 to Kapunda, yet to score on the Birds of Barossa scoreboard.
We'll see Kapunda bring the ball back in from defence through Borg.
And, of course, going to that defensive side, which you're going to see a lot of today with the wind blowing across the ground.
Ball runs around the full forward and kicks long. Cow Brown's in for the front of the pack. Tanunda read it well off the pack and kick forward, and it looks like Lockyell's nearly got it. And the ball goes out of bounds in that dead pocket.
And Lockyell's a player I'd expect to see perform pretty well today. These conditions are ideal for him. He's a big-bodied player, puts his frame over the footy, and once he's there, it's very hard to get past him.
Yeah, I watched him a couple of weeks ago against Williston, and he was quite dominant in and around the footy.
And he was one of the top, probably, I believe he was best on ground last week in Tanunda's loss to South Gawler. Big chip kick into Tanunda's forward line, cut off beautifully.
By Casey Jew. Casey Jew kicks across to Joey Brown, who's got the ball deep for Kapunda. He'll go long down the far side wing. Ball dies out and gets affected by the wind, but Kapunda have been wrapped up. They've got the ball out. We see Tanunda now just feeding a couple of handballs back here, and it's good work from Bailey Smith.
Tanunda with all the momentum at the moment. Kapunda haven't had any clear footy going forward at all. We'll have a boundary throw in the forward pocket.
It actually went out in the full, I think, Teeks, because we see Kapunda kicking in from full back there. Jai McKenzie kicks the ball out. Matt Westhoff, or that might not have been Westhoff, that might have been Falkenberg, gets his hand on the footy and takes it out of bounds on the far side.
Westhoff will be happy with, Falkenberg will be happy with that because he can set up straight away for the ruck contest.
Throw in clears the pack.
Tanunda able to grab the footy. That ball goes deep forward. And a
lovely soccer off the ground from, looks like big Henry Voigt there.
Henry Voigt, the Sturt veteran.
He was on the ground and looked like he'd been beaten, but just flung that foot out.
He's got a knack of kicking the unusual goal.
Kicked it straight between the big posts.
But that's that forward pressure. Tanunda just keeps smashing it forward, and the Kapunda defence really is under siege early in this game. Second goal of the game brought to you by Ray White Craigmore. As Tanunda now move to 2 goals to nothing on the Birds Barossa scoreboard.
Looks like we've seen the first lot of rotations come on here. Both clubs have rotated 2 or 3 players off the bench. So we do see some youngsters in both teams today out there.
Yes, and a lot of young players in Kapunda's team all season. Really a rebuilding year for the Bomber.
It certainly is, and we've got a free here to Kapunda. Joey Brown kicks Kapunda forward. Zanandrea takes a nice fly. It's roved by Callum Brown. Riley never gets the ball forward to Justin Zanandrea, and Zanandrea kicks Kapunda's first.
There we go. Kapunda on the board. Their first real forward entry, and ends up in a quick goal.
Zanandrea has been really good for Kapunda this year. He has missed a couple of games, but last week was soundly beaten by young Fiebiger from Angaston. But he's got his name on the scoreboard early today, so he'll be looking for that to be a bit of confidence and kick himself a bag.
To me, it looks like the first time in about 4 or 5 years that he's truly healthy and moving freely.
Yes, he is.
He's playing like he did probably 6-7 years ago when he was the most exciting forward in the competition.
Have to agree with you there, Teeks. And yeah, he has got his body right, and hopefully they can give him a bit of space and he can kick a few goals today.
And you wouldn't want to be trapped one-on-one with him 20 metres out from goal.
No, he does like to be isolated in the square, and Jake Pilgrim's a good matchup for him because he's quite strong as well. So as we see Whistler and Falkenberg go back at it.
It's that first sidestep that Zanandrea beats you with, though.
Malira gets the ball out to Joey Brown, who kicks well, and it's Zanandrea again.
Zanandrea just pushed under the ball by Pilgrim, well defended. And clearing kick from Douse. Cut off. So we'll see a ball up just inside the forward 50 for Kapunda.
As we see plenty of players around the footy. Whistler comes in and probably pushes Falkenberg in the back, maybe.
Free kick has been paid against Whistler, yes. It's always a worry for Whistler because he's so big and strong that it always looks like he's out muscling the opposition, even if he's just going straight for the footy.
Yep, just as a little bit clumsy sometimes. He's just got to work that out of his game, and he could truly dominate a game if he could get his body right.
Yes, he is one of the more intimidating players in the Barossa Light and Gawler comp. As quick handball forward there, misses the target. Handball over the back to Biaggi. Quick right foot chip. Just lands in front of his teammate. Trickles over the boundary. So the boundary throw in on the outer wing.
Looks like we've got all one-on-ones forward for Tanunda in their forward lines, and it's quite open.
Kapunda's forward line is very open. Pilgrim and Zanandrea are the only two players inside the forward 60 for Kapunda.
There's Tanunda on the outside wing. That's a bit of a shot.
Floating ugly kick goes out of bounds on the full. So Kapunda will return serve.
If anyone wants to score quick today, they've probably got to use this close side to us and use the window advantage. But teams look like they're just testing each other at the moment and just seeing how things are going.
Especially in the first quarter here at Kapunda, teams generally don't like to take the risk on the attacking side because it can quickly be turned around and used against you.
This looks like it's Isaac Felders kicking the ball forward, and it's a good mark taken by. Can't tell that is from here. Who's that with the ball, Teeks?
I can't quite see.
I reckon it might be Ashton Steiner.
Just looking now. Yes, I believe. Yes, it is young Ashton Steiner, son of Patrick. He'll be lining up well within range.
And he's kicked truly.
Yes, and that's his first goal of the game and takes Kapunda to 3 goals to Kapunda's 1 on the Birds Barossa scoreboard. And that goal, of course, brought to you by Ray White Craigmore. Joey Cirillo and the team, they are the premiership team for real estate in the northern suburbs.
Looks like if any team can get it forward quick before the numbers come back, very dangerous and can score. The ball's been sort of played in between the two half-back lines mostly for the day so far.
Neither team really possessing a key power forward, so that quick movement is optimal because you've got 4 or 5 small guys who can all kick multiple goals. Quick throw handball there from Tanunda forward.
As the wind picks up on this close wing.
Coming out to this near side, into the pocket. Ball comes back in and trickles over the boundary line. We'll have a boundary throw in about 30 metres around from the point post and Tanunda's attacking end.
Tanunda look like they're setting up here with the wall behind the footy with the ruckman dropping back, kicking half behind. They've got a second spare.
Beautiful tap back from Whistler. We see umpire Higginbottom just whistles that he'll take the ball himself for a throw up. Falkenberg with a tap.
As the ball's just scrimmaged along and taken close to the boundary line.
Ball comes back towards the half-back line for Kapunda. The ball up. Whistler takes the ball out of the ruck. He's tackled as he kicks it.
Joey Brown picks up across half-back for Kapunda.
Beautiful take from Brown.
Kicks the ball forward. This will be into Zanandrea's area. Makes a great contest. Young Cody Hallett gets the ball and kicks forward.
Here we go. We've got players going for it.
Bailey Smith and Riley Nevitt running at it.
Smith just too quick, too classy. That kick doesn't find anyone on the full.
As young Trent Gers,
who kicks right out to the outer side to a teammate. Takes a bounce.
Matt Westhoff handballs the ball on. Kicks the ball forward, and that looks dangerous. And Joel Griffiths takes a great mark.
With a really nice mark.
That was really good work from Tanunda, switching from this close side across the back through the half back line.
They took a risk.
Side. Yep.
Before anyone this side further up the ground could realise what was going on, the ball was already heading past them. Griffiths now coming in.
Joel Griffiths' last kick for goal wasn't great, but this one's a bit of an easier shot.
Left foot.
And it looks like he's
got it. Goal umpire didn't
know
know much.
Goal.
Yes. Clear goal, so that's his first for the day. And that'll take Tanunda to 4 goals to Kapunda's lone goal on the Birds Barossa scoreboard. Tanunda just moving the ball a little bit quicker and cleaner than the Bombers at this stage.
Yep, just coming out of the back line just a little bit too easy, I think, at the moment for Kapunda's sake. But we see a change in the ruck as Riley Nevitt goes in and they push Whistler forward, hopefully to try and stretch Tanunda.
Not sure if that's definitely a winning move, because it's not what's happening when the ball gets to full forward. It's not getting there is Kapunda's problem at the moment.
As we see Falkenberg and Nevitt go at the footy.
Nevitt with a real early jump.
As Doherty clears the ball for Tanunda. It's good work from young Jacob Heinze, leading the Tanunda forward out. And we'll have another ball up on the far side.
A lot of play on the outer side today. Luckily our cameraman's on the job.
As we see Nevitt and Falkenberg go at it again.
Heavy tackling. Both teams really wanting to feel some body in close today. It's going to take a toll as the game wears on.
Nevitt gets front position and a good hit out.
Quick hack, clearing kick.
Joey Brown takes a good mark. Gets the ball in quick. That's what Kapunda wanted.
Zanandrea 1-on-1. He brings the ball to ground to his own advantage. That Tanunda player was hanging on
to Valentine.
Valentine almost flipped him in a wrestling move. Valentine with a long kick.
Cow Brown, who almost takes a mark.
Callum Brown just planted himself under that against several defenders. Ball comes to a pack probably 15 metres from Kapunda's goal.
The only problem with that, Kapunda didn't have any crummers down there, and Cow Brown was just forced to make a contest.
Yes. Ball tapped through backwards and just taken over the line by Zanandrea for a boundary throw-in. Brown, I thought, was fantastic last week when the game was up for the win. He put himself under a couple of high balls that a lot of players his age wouldn't do.
Yep, no, his last quarter was pretty special, actually.
I was disappointed that he wasn't rewarded by being named in the best players, and brought that up with Jason McKenzie during an interview during the week.
And Jason's response was?
He thought he played fantastic, but there were other guys that were better.
I probably would have had Cow Brown in my top 6 of Kapunda last week, but as we see another ball throw in here. Kapunda's attacking 50. Whistler taps the ball to Zanandrea.
Zanandrea over his right-hand shoulder. Was on track. And that
is a very good mark. Looks like that's
really
from Sam
good
Colquhoun.
Mark. Colquhoun had eyes only for the footy. And because he went for the ball, other players also going for the ball, he was perfectly safe. He's going to clear down the outer side. So huge kick. There's not many players in the comp who can kick that far, that accurately. There's Colquhoun, Fraser Evans, and maybe one or two others.
Joey Brown just catches someone holding the ball and pumps the ball straight back in.
Pilgrim hanging on, but also was the only player to get his hand to the footy.
As Brad Williams takes a clearing mark for Kapunda. Kicks the ball forward and Jai McKenzie down from full-back. We'll see if he's
kicked that beautifully.
And it's just scraped the post.
It looked really good. He kicked it with confidence, kicked through the footy, and just robbed by the goalpost. But it was a beautiful run of play for the young man. It's the only Jay McKenzie we'll see running today.
Yeah, with two Jay McKenzies for Kapunda today. We might not see the big fella much early, at least. As Riley Nevitt takes a great mark there.
That's excellent. And that's something that he brings that Whistler doesn't at this stage, is the ability to take the pack mark.
Just overcooked the kick a bit there, and it became a bit of an issue.
A very brave mark taken there for Tanunda. Fraser Smith.
Ex-Kapunda Junior. He's got some good size about him and moving well. Not sure about the kick, though.
They call that a mongrel punt when they're being polite. No one able to clear the bowl. Now Kapunda with a kick coming back towards the wing. Tanunda players all over it. That quick inboard kick is dropped. And no, short up and under kick. No one able to get to it. Tanunda now clearing.
The wind is playing a bit of havoc here.
Good handball play here from the Tanunda players. We see this a lot from Tanunda. They work the ball by hand.
It's a great tackle from Harry
Watkin.
Watkin.
Under pressure with a really short kick. Wasn't far enough.
Probably nearly could have been paid that holding the ball because he cut the 360s there.
So
Tanunda go forward and kick another goal.
See another goal kicked for Tanunda. Just that quick entry. Kapunda have no answer for it at the moment.
Not sure what kick that one takes. We'll have to look on the replay. Might have been Sam Brooks, was it?
I believe it was.
We just got the ball over the line there with Kapunda's Jai McKenzie running back and just missed it. As Tanunda kicked their fifth and have opened up an early advantage here, kicking with a strong
And
wing,
that was a halfback pushing up again, taking advantage of Kapunda's defensive lapses. We are nearly 23 minutes into the first quarter on the Ray White Craig Moore time clock. As we see big Aaron Whistler coming to the bench. Brad Valentine.
Whistler's back in the ruck and he's going at it here against.
And gets a massive thump forwards. The umpire's calling back. He's seen an infringement somewhere.
No, I think he's just calling for another throw, but I'm not sure why because it went straight up. But he's calling it again, so Whistler gets over the top again.
A little deft tap backwards. Oh, he's falconed the umpire. The umpire's gone down.
That's a good one for almost three legends.
We do love that. We do love it. And the cameraman's just making me watch the replay. It is all face. That was such beautiful connectivity. Sorry to
as Riley Menzel kicks
any of his family members that might be watching, but he just copped a beauty.
Looks like Kapunda gave a free away there. Didn't have eyes on the footy. Tanunda have settled better than Kapunda at the moment. And are using the space on the ground and the...
Trent Gers now wrapped up heavily and was unable to get the ball out. One arm was pinned.
As we see Joey Brown kick a goal for Kapunda.
Joey Brown on the quick turnaround.
Good tackle from Tom Haslett and well rewarded. And Joey Brown swoops on the loose ball.
It's an even better tackle considering who it's on. Trent Gers physically in the upper body is very, very strong. So to be able to pin him like that is a massive effort. And that's Kapunda's second goal, brought to you by Ray White Craig Moore. And takes the score on the Burge Barossa scoreboard to Tanunda, 5 goals straight, 30 points. And Kapunda 2 goal 1, 13.
As we see umpire Higginbottom grab the ball back in the centre, and we'll see Whistler and Falkenberg again go at it.
Perhaps Higginbottom taking the duties in the middle while his cohort just clears his head a little bit.
Whistler clearly wins the tap again forward. Colquhoun onto it, feeds a handball back. And Tanunda getting the ball forward, but it goes out of bounds on the far side. I think that was Will Parker off half back.
So the ball out on that defensive wing now. The dead wing really here at Kapunda.
I see Tanunda's runner today is one of their A-grade players, but it looks like he's got a cast on his arm, young Jack May, who's actually been in a reasonable bit of form for Tanunda. As we see Fechner with the ball forward for Tanunda. Handballs forward, Fraser Smith shows a lot of footwork.
Ball punched away by Kapunda.
As Tanunda register their first point.
Kapunda bring the ball to this side now. Callum Brown on the lead. Mark's unopposed. Plays on. See the ball just coming.
Looks like Hazlitt's got the ball on the wing.
Down.
Kicks the ball to Nevitt. Nevitt nearly.
Never got both hands to it, just slipped through. Tanunda a chance to clear now.
Just a little bit easy, but that's a very dangerous kick into the centre.
Tanunda player fumbled what he probably should have taken. Brown now cleans up. And he's cleaned up after he kicked it.
And Justin Zanadray takes a good mark.
Good mark.
Well within his range, although he will be kicking into a stiff breeze.
Yeah, stiff breeze, but also going slightly across. He's a smart player, but I'm not sure if this is the sort of shot he'd love to be taking today.
No, if he gives it any air, it's got to be started probably outside the right-hand goalpost here.
Possibly even the point post if the wind picks up.
As he kicks it, and as we said, it
That
goes
is
across.
gone.
But Callum Brown's under the footy.
And
Well crumbed
well
from
crumbed
Tanunda.
there by Westhoff. No.
Parker, I think.
Parker cleaned that ball up beautifully. Gets the ball moving out for Tanunda.
And with that breeze, that ball gets taken across without getting touched, so Kapunda get the resulting free kick. So young Liam Opitz relieving pressure for Kapunda, kicking the ball back into their forward lines. We see Big Whistler under it, but no one gets their hands on it. Riley Nevitt comes through, flicks a handball out. Harry Wacky gets his hands on the footy.
Zanadrea just moved under the footy. Protected the space for his teammate beautifully, Pilgrim. So Westhoff now clears.
Out to Bailey Smith. Bailey Smith chips to the
Finds
pocket.
the BRG, the 100 gamer. He small clearing kick to this side.
Young Josh Oakless takes a good mark. Josh Oakless has been a bit of a find for Tanunda this year. He's having a good season. Only a youngster, but they're bringing through their ranks.
And a good family name coming through the Tanunda Footy Club. Great servants, the Oakless family.
That was a good mark from Kapunda's Jai McKenzie over the back of the pack. So we see him.
Sending the ball back from where it came.
It's a nice kick. Looks like Tanunda have the numbers there. As Lockie Earl kicks the ball forward, that's actually a nice kick, but
That's a big kick.
it's very well read from young Soupy Hines.
As the siren goes to end the first quarter. And what did you make of that quarter?
Tanunda definitely used the breeze well. They when they got the ball forward quickly, they did look dangerous. So it's something that Kapunda, when they go against the breeze, have to bottle it up a bit more. But Tanunda's run and carry were good. We see 5 individual goal scorers, so no one's really dominating forward. They got a couple of opportunist goals, but it was a good quarter, and we did see Lockie Earl get his hands on plenty of footy in close.
And probably can't put it down to just the breeze because a lot of those goals weren't set up from traditional clean passages of play where you've used the breeze to kick mark advantage.
No, and most of them did come from that dead side, which did make it a bit harder, so Tanunda actually played it quite well.
Yeah, their ability to move the footy quickly really caught Kapunda off guard on multiple occasions. And Kapunda are going to need to emulate that if they want to stay in the contest because currently at quarter time the margin 5-1 31 to 2-1 13 on the Birds Barossa scoreboard. That's a pretty big advantage on a day when it could come in wet later on.
Yeah, there is expected rain coming late today. Hopefully it comes after the footy because I think if the rain will be coming sideways at the moment because the wind is quite strong.
Yes, and that's what the prediction was last week, and sitting here in the same tent, we did cop it.
Yeah, at the half-time break last week, I think it was.
Yes, it was.
The team down, and Kapunda had to put the lights on for the second half because it was very, very black and dark.
And just during the last quarter of the B grade, I was wondering whether they would have to do that from the start of the game today. Fortunately, it has cleared up a little bit, but we're set for a really big second quarter here. Kapunda kicking to the left of screen and slightly uphill, but with the aid of a pretty nasty breeze.
Yep, they'll be looking to open it right up and get the ball in quickly.
No, the umpire's just come over to check and see if we can edit the bit out where he got falconed, but no. That's going on our highlight reel forever.
That one there might even make it to Footy Legends or some
It's going to make it to something.
home videos. Funniest home
I'll
videos.
make sure that Sam cuts that little bit and we can put a video up during the week. He should be reported for a headbutt on the Burley. I reckon there could be games.
But both umpires doing a very good job to start off this match.
I think they've umpired very well. They've let the game go, and they've umpired to the conditions, windy, slippery conditions, and they've let the players play footy. And that's why a lot of people tune in to watch this live stream rather than AFL games, because the players are allowed to actually play the game.
As we see just out in front of us here, Colquhoun going through some tactics with his on-ballers. And I do see Tanunda do have a couple of players out today. Obviously, Zane Kirkwood's still out with, I think it's ribs or back.
Ribs.
And young Benson Heinze I see out there, and Jack May, all are definitely out, because one's out there with a plaster cast on, one's out there holding the magnet board. So, whereas Kapunda at the moment have a couple of injury concerns. Fraser Evans still out. They also lost Ari Rigney.
Ari Rigney's a massive out,
as well as
and
Zach
Adam
Graham.
Turrell out this week. Probably more for dynamic and fit, but also it is a massive out, literally, in terms of size.
It certainly is, and Tuz probably would have went all right today, but obviously Kapunda are looking to blood some youth in their ruck, and young Riley Nevitt, who's only 19 years old, has been given that opportunity as the second ruck today.
He's been impressive in the couple of games I've seen. He was very good against the big men of Freeling.
Correct, yep.
And was one of the key reasons that the Bombers won that game.
Yep, he certainly did some good stuff that day. And so he'll probably start across half forward, and then which he looks like he is, and then he'll give Whistler a bit of a chop out in the ruck.
As we see players heading to their positions now. But yes, as we mentioned, the loss of Rigney, who I think has been terrific in and under this year, has been one of the main weapons for Kapunda in their midfield. Gets the ball out to the runners like the Joey Browns.
Yep, him and Zach Graham both out. As we see umpire Murch throw the ball into the air. Whistler and Falkenberg again. Whistler clearly wins the tap. Brad Williams has the ball. Handballs to Tyrone Malira, who goes forward to Joey Brown, who kicks forward.
Quick kick forward. Bounces over everyone. High bounce. Ball's in dispute. Zanandrea just keeps the ball in. See a quick flying shot on goal. Goes across the face and out on the full.
It's a point, actually. Looks like
Point, but yes, that's the quick entry that Kapunda wanted to find. It's what Tanunda did to them in the first quarter. Point. Yes.
as we see Tanunda kick the ball to the open side.
Ball really held up in the breeze there. BLG read it well, took the mark under pressure. He's now ignored a couple of targets coming strong at him. Now goes a bit longer.
As Jai McKenzie takes a great mark coming from 4 deep.
Was the only player who really went at the footy. He goes along looking for Valentine. Valentine gets up off the ground for about the 5th time this year. I still don't believe it.
It's a good tackle from Zanandrea, who gets the ball to ground, and Joey Brown kicks his second, and that's great crumbing from Joey Brown.
That is excellent crumbing. He was in perfect position, and Zanandrea knew he was there, and that created the opportunity to knock that ball in his direction.
You can nearly mark that one down to Zanandrea with the chase and tackle, and got the ball to spill out. That's great effort for Justin Zanandrea.
Great teamwork, and another goal for Ray White Craigmore, the premiership team in the northern suburbs for real estate.
Hasn't always been Justin Zanandrea's strengths, his chasing and tackling, but as he gets older, he realises that if he does it, other blokes will do it for him as well.
And again, I think that's another symptom of him being healthy enough to get to every contest in good shape and keep going. Whereas in the past, he's had to work so hard under distress just to get to a contest that he couldn't do much more once he got there.
As Whistler wins the ball forward and Joey Brown kicks Kapunda forward again.
Brown really starting to stamp an imprint on this game.
As Pilgrim clears for Tanunda.
That ball bouncing up. Brown, a strong tackle. He's into everything at the moment, Joey.
He's one of the better players on the ground at the minute.
I haven't seen him niggle anyone yet, which is strange. Falkenberg clearly got his hand into that ball. Ball comes forward for Tanunda.
Griffiths takes it forward. McKenzie reads it well, and again, the only one that wanted the footy. He's been a bit of a find for Kapunda this
He
year.
has been, and he's straight lining a lot of contests, which I really like as a defender. That ball pops out. Tanunda with an easy goal.
That's Big Henry Voigt. Some good work in the pack there as Tanunda
And
spill the ball out.
popped out to Greenslade, who just kicked that ball straight forward, and just a simple goal there for the Magpies.
Voigt's the first multiple goal kick, or actually the first multiple goal kicker for Tanunda for the day. As we see, Joey Brown's got 2 for Kapunda.
Takes the score to Tanunda 6-goal 137, leading Tanunda 3-goal 220 on the Birds Barossa scoreboard. So we see the ball back in the middle now.
Whistler and Falkenberg again. Whistler again.
Whistler
gets
with
the
a
tap forward.
clear advantage there, taps the ball.
As Colquhoun gets hold of the footy and feeds it back.
And
Good,
a
really good
strong
mark from
chest
young,
mark
young
taken
Fraser
there.
Smith.
Fraser Smith starting to grow into his body and realise that he is a big dog. Goes forward and that's well defended by Kapunda. Fist comes down and a free kick paid going Kapunda's way.
Yep.
Just as Kapunda were about to clear, so no punishment there for the Bombers. From here, it's going to be really interesting to see what decision they make. They're going down the defensive side.
Young Opitz kicks the ball up.
That's a
along
long,
the wing, and
high
Valentine
kick.
again. That's a good mark on the ground to Callum Brown. Handles to Joey Brown, who handles over the top to young Aiden Mudge. Joey Brown gets the ball back in the 1-2. And kicks
I
the ball
reckon
forward.
Callum would get punched if he didn't handball it to Joey.
As we see, Tanunda's weight of numbers just gets him the ball. As young Hokeless gets the ball and clears for Tanunda. He kicks the ball back to Greenslade.
Greenslade with a strong diving mark.
He's been a little bit quiet, Greenslade, but today he finds Earl, who hasn't been quiet.
He handballs straight off to a running teammate.
And Colquhoun takes the mark, and that's
Probably too far out to score against the wind.
kicks
He
the
just
ball
kicks
across
it
the
into
face.
space.
Voigt's got the footy, handballs back.
Beautiful
to
step
Fechner.
around. Aaron Fechner on his left. Just slides across the face of goal for a behind. Probably had more time than he realised there, Fechner.
He probably did. There was a bit of pressure, but he probably had a couple of steps. As Mackenzie kicks it out, but it comes off the inside of the boot. And we see Greenslade kicking across to Colquhoun again. Colquhoun again, probably too far out.
I don't think Kapunda will be too upset with Colquhoun having the ball there. But it's whether they can defend this next kick that they have to worry about.
Colquhoun looks like he's backing himself here.
Gives it plenty of air, which is probably not ideal in these conditions. Ball comes to ground and is touched
over
across
the
the
line.
line. So a minor score. The Tanunda players did try and fool the goal umpire, but he was all over it, up to the task. That's another minor score for the Magpies.
It's a good contest on the far side between Brown in the Callum variety and Falkenberg. Ball gets kicked high in the air. No one gets a hand on it. And we'll see what the umpire's saying here. I'm not sure if it was touched or not.
Doesn't look like it was, so Kapunda will bring the ball back in under the last touch rule. How have you seen the last touch rule being implemented this year? Are you happy with it?
Yep, I actually quite like it as a rule. Speed.
I do. I've been quite happy with it. It hasn't hurt anyone.
No.
I haven't seen it cost teams games,
Speed-
but it forces the defenders to keep the ball in and
Yep.
take risks.
speeds the game up, and we don't have slogs by boundary lines.
As we see
all the
Malira
time.
kick backwards to the running Joey Brown, who goes long down the wing, and a strong mark taken.
By young Nevitt. Nevitt back off his mark, kicks the ball forward, looking for Tommy Hazlitt. Hazlitt takes
Hazlitt
a mark.
makes the play, gets there, and is probably just outside his range, wouldn't you think?
He's a good kick, but he's kicking the ball to the top of the goal square, and Harry Watke looks the man most likely.
And players wrapped up as the ball came down from that spoil. Quick ball up, Whistler with a big tap, and Tanunda with a clearing kick.
Joey Brown sitting under it and takes a nice mark.
Brown just getting in everything at the moment.
And nearly kicks a goal from there, 60 metres out, as it just goes through for a point.
With the wind, why wouldn't you try? As we're just over 8 minutes into the second quarter here on the Ray White Craigmore time clock.
We see Tanunda still got a 3-goal lead. They're kicking into the breeze in this quarter. Nice kick out from full back. Looks like it's Bailey Smith having the ball.
Tanunda moving the ball quite smartly. They're not just willing to bang it long and hope for the best. They want to move the ball with patience.
Kapunda just a bit of loose checking here.
Probably couldn't end up costing Kapunda if they're not going to put pressure on as Tanunda come out of defence.
Tanunda are now forced to go long. Contest on the wing.
Ball came over the back.
Good
Quick handball off.
Earl kicks forward. As we see Fraser Smith and
Fraser
Max
Smith
Neville go at it.
caught behind. That's a magnificent tackle there from
Max
Neville, the Bombers captain.
As Henry Voigt takes the ball over the line on the far side.
Great saving tackle there from Neville. If he hadn't applied that, I think Tanunda were going to stroll into an open goal. See a boundary throw in on the outer side. Almost in line with the windmill.
Ball goes in. Falkenberg gets the better of Whistler on this. Brad Williams very desperate in the bottom of the pack with Lockie Earl. Bit of a mismatch here forward for Tanunda. They've got probably 100-goal league footballer in John Greenslade on a 16-year-old Kapunda defender.
What better way to learn?
The Kapunda boys just make sure they got to get back and give young Riley Menzel a help out.
The ball up at 50-metre mark.
Colhoun flicks the handball back. Tanunda, that's a good mark from young Aaron Fechner.
Probably just outside Fechner's range these days. So he'll be looking for a target. Kapunda should be awake to that.
Ball's high. So we see the ball down to the Crummers. Looks like Jackson Doherty.
Quick kick around the corner.
Brad Williams, that's a great mark.
That is courageous as hell. Really put his body on the line, and that's inspirational stuff. He brings the ball out now to this side.
It's a lovely kick from the under-17s coach to one of his under-17s players, who moves it on quickly to young Cody Hallett. Cody, get the ball and run. One of the quickest blokes at Kapunda.
Almost ran too far. He was running that fast.
Just had to probably lower the eyes a little bit there, and in the end, blazed away and went straight to Matt Westhoff.
And that's the easiest kick Westhoff will get today. Isaac Feltus now with the ball on the outer side. Brings a little chip kick in to find Westhoff.
That's Sam Colhoun with the ball now. Kapunda needs some help back.
With Colhoun goes long.
It's a good punch from the back from
looking for
Heinze.
Falkenberg. Well spoiled.
As we see a ball in on the far side. In Tanunda's attacking 50 at about the 12-minute mark here of this second quarter. So the boundary umpire just about to throw the ball back in where we've got the two number 19s going at it in Whistler and Voigt. Whistler grabs the ball out of the ruck. It's a good handball out to Joey Brown again.
Big high kick.
Valentine nearly takes a one-hander. And the ball goes out of bounds on the far side. Tanunda's defence, Kapunda's defence just looks a bit shaky here. Looks like there's not a lot of talk out there. And looks like Tanunda have a extra forward at the moment.
Yes, Tanunda really working hard into the breeze. And Kapunda just need to take their time and get some voice going and really man up now. There's that
It's good pressure there.
little forward pressure
Kapunda's
from
youngsters.
Tanunda.
Kapunda got
Forces the ball over the boundary.
looks like the Kapunda got 3 of their under-17s team today in the back 6 at the moment. So that's good experience for them.
Good experience. Perhaps not the best idea. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be back there, but perhaps not all at once. Maybe rotate them through. But as I said to Buckets during the week, that's why he's coaching and I'm not. It's one of many reasons.
As we see Nevitt and Falkenberg go at it here. Falkenberg wins the ball down, but Aidan Mudge takes the ball and clears for Kapunda. Valentine flies again. Ball's on the ground. Valentine gets his hands on it, flicks a handball out.
Valentine's been off the ground more this year than I've seen him during his career, I think. And I had a good chat to him before the game, and he feels really freed up by the way he's come into this year with no expectation. Didn't expect to be playing A grade, didn't intend to. So he's going out there, there's not putting any pressure on himself. He's not having to lock anyone down in defence. And just the weight off his
Ball
shoulders.
goes a kick for goal for Kapunda. And I reckon he's kicked it through the middle, and that's a good goal for Kapunda.
That is a really good goal
play.
against the Tide. Cyborg, Brodie Borg, has just kicked the goal. That's another goal for Ray White-Craigmore, the premiership team for real estate in the northern suburbs.
He's been a big inclusion in the last couple of weeks for Kapunda. He missed 4 or 5 weeks with got a knock to the larynx, and he couldn't talk and was struggling with his breathing early on.
And for a school teacher, that's a big setback. But he is fantastic for the Bombers. He just keeps going and going. Wins a lot of contests around the ground that you wouldn't expect him to win.
As we've got Falkenberg.
Neither
and
ruckman really had a good run at that.
Nevitt gets the ball, kicks it forward. Valentine there again, but the ball goes out before anyone touches it.
So Tanunda will be able to bring the ball back into play, I would think. But Brodie Borg definitely is one of the best players for Kapunda, and when he plays well, Kapunda generally get a result.
Yep, his effort last week was one of the things that got Kapunda over the line.
It was a thing of beauty to watch. Kapunda now defending as Tanunda go forward. Young Steinert now with quick, really good pick up and handball inboards. Was looking for Feltus, who just overran it.
And the umpire calls for the ball to be his. Nevitt and Falkenberg again. Nevitt uses his body. Ball comes down to, looks like Tom Haslett at the bottom of the pack, and he's wrapped up by Tanunda. And we have another ball up. Good scrapping there from Kapunda and Tanunda here. Neither side are getting too much freedom, and there's not too much free play going either way. Nevitt does really well in the ruck and hits down to Tyrone Malira, who gets a bit of space. Handballs through to Harry Wucky through the middle. Kapunda breaking down a bit with Matt Westhoff reading everything down back.
If you're going to do that, Matt Westhoff will just pick you off all day long. He reads the ball so well.
I really would like to see it from a Kapunda point of view, maybe pushing Buckets McKenzie onto the ground and putting him in the goal square and forcing Matt Westhoff to be accountable and probably having to stand him.
Yes.
Because Tanunda don't have enough height to go with him if they don't do that.
That's a really good point. McKenzie would also create a lot of ground ball.
As we see Tanunda clear to the commentary side wing. Really good mark there from Liam Opitz. He took that over the top of Fraser Smith.
Yeah, almost looking back over his shoulder to take the mark. He's going to drive the ball straight back into the forward line.
It's a nice kick as we see Valentine.
Valentine was lining up from a long way back.
Zanandrea has the ball.
Handballs it back into play.
Good handball from John Greenslade. That's just
perfect hands. Lockie Michael under the footy, takes it. Handballs off. And a youngster from Kapunda with a handball forward. Greenslade with a crushing tackle. It took Brown to ground and really made him feel it. Then pushed Brad Valentine down over the top of Brown.
Yeah, I'm not sure Jackson Doherty, that's a great move for him because
it's not the player I'd want to really upset. He hasn't given away a 25 this year. I reckon he's due. So don't poke the bear is what we're suggesting. And poor throw back, and the umpire is going to ping him with a 25-metre penalty. That's going to be costly. Kapunda, they've had all the play for a while now, and to just give up that territory and give Tanunda a chance to get the ball deep into their forward line could be really bad.
As Green's legs kicks the ball forward. Oh, a juggled mark is dropped, and a point's kicked by.
Point
I think it
kicked
was
there by Feltus.
Feltus or Stein at one of them to two.
No, Feltus it was.
Yep. As Malira, who dropped that easy mark, kicks the ball out to Mudge.
Mudge has been very quiet. Last week he had a quiet first half, but his second half was superb.
Yeah, his run late in the day for Kapunda was good. And like you said, he has been a bit quiet today on that far wing.
So he is a player that needs to lift for the Bombers, needs to become prolific.
Colquhoun takes the mark and plays on and kicks the ball. It's
Very low, too low. Beautiful smother.
By Kapunda, as umpire Murch calls for the ball to be his.
Yes. But good desperation smother there. See, Tanunda Ruckman flew early and almost fell out of the contest.
We see another ball up as looks like Lockie L takes Tyrone Malira. With the ball. Nevitt gets the ball down to Malira. Malira can't quite get his hands on it, but it goes to Borg.
Malira
finally gets one and comes out to young Liam Opitz. Opitz kicks the ball, and we see Zanandrea up on half back at the moment.
Did that a lot last week when the ball wasn't coming into the forward line, worked up the ground to create an opportunity for his team.
Zanandrea kicks down to a contest. Cow Brown gets his hands on the ball. Whistler grab. Harry Wackie's got the ball and it's taken high. Unfortunately, Kapunda don't have a forward down there with Zanandrea still running off half back.
He wheels around on his right, kicks it deep.
Joey Brown flies.
But the only player down there was no one to crumb. Several Tanunda players there.
Joey Brown's good work, though, in the pocket there.
Brown
and that's nearly holding the ball.
Picked up on a fumble and chased the guy down. He's very nearly holding the ball, and a simple set shot on goal would have resulted.
Whistler in the pocket. Wins the ball down to Valentine. And we see a free kick against Valentine, maybe. As Tanunda spread.
As we see a little bit of feeling on the wing. Several players from either side just introducing themselves to each other. Just saying, don't you know who I am?
Ex-Kapunda lad Fraser Smith creating a bit of havoc there.
Oh, just reintroducing himself to a few guys that he probably played with years ago, going, been a while. How you doing?
As Aaron Fechner takes a mark at fullback, centre-half back here for Tanunda and kicks the ball up the middle.
And beautifully picked off there by the young Kapunda defender.
Young Liam Opitz who kicks the ball and
finds Callum Brown.
It's Tyrone Malira.
Sorry, just inside 50 metres, so he'll be kicking from right on 50.
He does have a long leg and he has got the breeze at his back, so I'm not.
So he will back himself here. I'm not sure I'm confident. Leans back on the kick. And just finds it to the goal square where it's rushed through for a behind.
Just didn't quite have the length there.
Leant back on it a little bit too much. So we see Tanunda to bring the ball in. They're going to go down the outer side.
Bailey Smith kicks the ball high in the air. Plenty of numbers out there on the far wing. Mudge roves the pack. It's tackled straight away by Biaggi.
He rode the pack by getting up in the air.
As Ball goes forward for Kapunda. Kicks the ball out in the front of Zanandrea. Zanandrea is trying to show Pilgrim a clean pair of heels, and he runs out of bounds.
Kapunda now pressing. They need to take advantage of this. They've got the win this quarter and really haven't put it on the board.
They've had a lot of footy, and it's after being 5 goals to 1 down, they've got to kick 3 goals with the breeze in this quarter.
Ball up. Clearing kick comes Tanunda's way.
As
heavy tackles.
Tom Haslett at the bottom of the pack, and I think Harry Wacky might have copped one there.
I think he might have copped a couple.
Getting up gingerly.
As Sam Brooks ducks under the camera and walks past us, holding his ribs a little bit.
I reckon he might have got hit by a Valentine tackle there. And we've got a free kick here for Kapunda's way. Holding without the footy. And it goes to, is it going to be Haslett or Watke? Looks like Harry Watke will have the kick.
Distance shouldn't be the issue and should have the wind at his back. Accuracy is going to be the only concern. And has just been paid a 25-metre penalty.
Looks like Gers gave the ball back to the Kapunda guy and not the bloke kicking for goal. So,
and they paid one the other way earlier in the game, so players have to be aware that if the umpires are seeing it.
It's a good goal there from Harry Watke, and Kapunda needed that one.
And Harry Watke's the kind of player that needs to stand up if Kapunda want to fight their way back into this contest. Well, they are back into the contest, but they need to create a buffer before three-quarter time. Before half-time, sorry.
At the 23-minute mark here of the second quarter, Tanunda are leading 6-goal 440 to Kapunda 5-goal 434.
And that's another goal brought to you by Ray White Craigmore, the premiership team for real estate in the northern suburbs. Although Joey White will happily sell you a house anywhere.
Nevitt wins the tap over the top and rows the ball himself. Looks a lot more in the Turrell mode than the big jumper. But he is rucking well today, and he kicks a point from the centre circle. So,
and he is rocking the long sleeves, so he is part of the long sleeve mafia with
Turrell.
Turrells.
As Tanunda clear out of full back to Matt Westhoff in the back pocket on the members' side. Tanunda take another mark, and it doesn't look like there's much movement about here.
A lot of leads on short, but they go long instead, and a strong mark taken by
Riley Nevitt.
Really starting to have an impact in this quarter.
It's a good kick back in, and Valentine cops one high.
Copped one high as the ball bounced off his chest. He's getting up slowly. I think he genuinely got that on the chops.
Yep. I reckon the umpire may well have missed that one. Must have been blindsided because it was...
Possibly. Ball coming in now. Tanunda player almost took the mark in Smith, but he just dropped it at the last moment.
Heinze and Voigt go at it. It's a good punch from Heinze. It's very good work from the young Kapunda defender.
Hasn't given up on the contest.
Last year's Rookie of the Year, and he's done it really well there to halve a 2-on-1. The Kapunda guys are picking him up and patting him on the back.
Yes, definitely well played there. Great dogged defence. And it's that sort of thing that's keeping Kapunda in the game. That short kick, a beautiful kick.
That is a lovely kick.
Only one player had a chance at that ball, and that was Smith.
Was that Colquhoun that kicked that one across?
Yes, that's why Colquhoun got drafted, because of his elite kicking, and we just saw it on display there.
He's getting a fair bit of the footy at the moment, so.
And he's the guy they want using the footy, delivering it forward. They don't want him at the bottom of the pack trying to pick the ball up. He's on the outside as the release.
We see Fraser Smith here now. Got a kick for goal to stem a bit of the tide. It's all has been Kapunda's way in the last 10 minutes.
As the siren goes to end the first half of footy here at Kapunda. Comes in now and has just drifted the ball to the right. So it's a minor score, a let-off for Kapunda. As the score at half-time at Dutton Park. Tanunda 6-goal 441, leading Kapunda 5-5-35 on the Birds Barossa scoreboard, Matt. How have you seen the first half?
Kapunda definitely got back into it that quarter, kicking 4-1. As we see a little bit of niggle here at half-time as the players are coming off. But yeah, Kapunda were a lot better at the contest. Tanunda might be a bit disappointed because they probably just let Kapunda back into it now.
But the game is back on an even keel now, so Tanunda will back themselves to have an impact with the wind in the third quarter.
We see for Tanunda, they're better players so far. Lochiel and Sam Colquhoun are getting plenty of it around the footy. But Matt Westhoff's the one. He's stopping a lot of Kapunda's attacking footy, and he's doing a good job. One thing that Kapunda are doing is they're nullifying big Todd Falkenberg in the ruck. Both Whistler and Nevitt are doing quite well, and Falkenberg's been in good form for Tanunda. I saw a couple of weeks ago against Williston, he completely dominated that game in the air, and he did a good job last week apparently as well. So Kapunda on top in the ruck. Joey Brown's getting some good footy as well for them. Zan Andrea's looking dangerous. Cal Brown's getting his hands on a lot of footy, but not taking those marks like he did late last week. So hopefully in the second half, for Kapunda's sake, he can grab a hold of a couple of them. But
for mine, Joey Brown is probably the best player on the ground at the moment. He got really dangerous that quarter. He's the reason Kapunda surged back into the contest. He just willed his team back into the game.
He did, and he did it offensively and defensively. He was running hard back. He laid a couple of tackles. He's just putting his body on the line. So very good half a footy for Joey Brown.
And for Tanunda that quarter, I thought Greenslade really started to have an impact.
Yeah, he was quiet in the first quarter. I'll agree with that, but he got into the game to give Earl and Colquhoun a bit of a hand.
But just some deft touches under pressure that no one was expecting. And suddenly the Tanunda player who was running past just because he was running, the ball landed in his lap and he didn't realise it was coming.
And that's the class of what these ex-Sturt boys have done for Tanunda. They've just taken that professionalism and their quick hands and their clean footy. They've just taken it to the next level and bringing their youngsters into the game as well.
But yes, players like Pilgrim has been really good on Zan Andrea in the defensive 50 and forced Zan Andrea to come up the ground a little.
Yeah, we did see that. We got a couple of kicks up here on the wing and sort of left Kapunda's forward line quite bare when he turned around and had the footy and there wasn't much back there. Valentine's been a bit down today after his last couple of weeks, so expect a big second half for him.
And scores from around the ground at Williston. Newry 5 goal 6-36, leading Williston 1 goal 3-9. Sorry, that was a quarter time score.
So that hope Newry were potentially kicking with a strong breeze there, but
it would be very breezy down at Elliott Goodger Park today.
It'll be interesting to see what happened in the second quarter there, because that is a big lead going into quarter time.
That definitely is, but Newry, I think, are the second best team in the competition at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment they are. Well, I mean, earlier on I was saying that Williston were, but I watched Tanunda sort Williston out, and Newry just keep getting the job done.
But Williston, I think, a lot like last year, they are building. Williston, we didn't think were that serious challenger until just before the finals. Then we thought, hang on, they're for real. And I think they are doing a lot of that this year.
Yeah, last year they weren't even expected probably to make finals because after the two double COVID buys, I think they were relying on other teams winning and losing rather than it wasn't all in their own hands.
But they had players coming back during the back end of the season, and this year they've been getting some players back from SANFL footy at the right time. Well, some say at the right time, some say it's not quite the right time. And there's a bit of an issue going on there with eligibility, I believe.
Yeah, that's something that I believe will just have to be looked at. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
You don't want to go into that on air?
I don't want to comment on that on air. I'm a director, but we haven't discussed it as at length yet. So
okay, I'll let that go for now. I'm going to be nice, just because you're helping me out with the commentary today. But really interesting day for footy. It's not a clear-cut day where you can just go out there and go, I'm going to be kicking the ball to that point and know it's going to get there, because the wind is very gusty. For one moment it's absolutely hammering you, and the next moment there's not much.
No, the only thing that I am happy for is that the rain hasn't come as was expected, because it's actually quite sunny as we look out.
Yeah, now you've jinxed us.
Onto the oval, but Kapunda has had, I think this is our 6th home game in a row, and the oval's actually stood up quite well, and the back half of the year there'll be no football at Kapunda.
No football at Kapunda, and a lot of construction being done, I believe.
Yep, the committee have got themselves a grant, and they're going to be upgrading some change rooms and toilet facilities, new umpires' rooms, new visitors' showers and toilets. So once it's done, a big viewing deck and barbecue area. So hopefully for the start of that'll all be done for the start of next season.
And that is fantastic. And a lot of clubs are really starting to get their act together and develop their facilities. They know that they can't just keep offering the same old and expecting people to show up week after week and pay their money if they don't offer the right facilities. And Kapunda have always been pretty good, and now they are taking it to another level.
Yep. So there's a few clubs that have put some money in and some hard work in. We see Freeling have got some great facilities now. Newry's new change rooms are fantastic. Ango just had a big development it's just been completed and it's really good. So Tanunda are in the process. So we hope the other clubs follow the lead and do the same thing and put some money back into their facilities. And there are plenty of grants out there that you can get through the...
And the new lights at Williston are simply fantastic. A couple of the older players there, Brandon Noddle, I know in particular, is so excited about the quality of the lights. You know, when his kids are training out there, when he's coaching the under-13s, he thinks it's just the best thing.
Yep. Their lights were on the average side beforehand, and they're great. They've put the same lights up as what Kapunda put up earlier in the year, and it does make a huge difference on training nights. And even like I said last week during the game, we turned the lights on here during the live stream game, and you nearly couldn't see across the oval. It was that dark earlier on.
I couldn't see the middle of the ground from our position.
And then, after the lights went on, it did brighten everything up. So
even I felt brighter.
Just got a quick question for you, Teach. Just it's off topic, but right at the moment, if you were a betting man,
Don't tempt me.
Who would you have in the sort of the top 5 blokes that are be polling well in the medal at the moment?
Well, it's a wide open race because Charlie Molyneux no longer playing with that serious knee injury, so suddenly it's wide open. Early in the year, you would have said that he was a strong favourite to win it. So it really has opened up. There's guys that, like Sam Colquhoun, will get votes. I think last year there were some games where he should have gotten votes, but he didn't. I think this year he was going to get them more often. Yep. But South Gawler, there's a lot of blokes who will take votes off each other, but there's a couple of guys there that will vote well.
You reckon Flynn Pisani's
Flynn Pisani is so dynamic and brilliant that I think he would have at least 2 to 3 best on grounds already for the Lions.
Yep, and even youngster Bailey Filkey.
Bailey Filkey will get some 2s and 1s, but Pisani's the kind of guy that will get 3 votes. And there's a couple of other guys there that will get the votes also.
If we go through the other clubs, like you said, with Tanunda, we're looking at Sam Colquhoun, and I reckon Kirkwood, in the games that he's played well. I watched him against Tanunda, and he was good. He just seems to read that ball well, but probably Colquhoun's their number 1 at the moment. Kapundas probably don't really have a standout at the moment. Joey Brown's probably been their best player, but no one's really would have voted too well because through inconsistency.
Brown is Kapunda's best player if you look at it from just a list point of view, but guys like Brodie Borg have had more of an impact in a lot of the games that Kapunda have played, so Brown isn't necessarily going to be the guy that gets votes week in, week out.
And Ari Rigney, probably the other one that's played some good footy.
Rigney and Borg, possibly Opitz in at least one game, will get 3 votes. But Harry Watke last week was fantastic as well, and he'll pick up votes, and that'll hurt a lot of their chances. Newry, I think there's a lot of guys that'll share it. Scott Bentley, their captain, has been fantastic week in, week out, and he plays most of the game on the footy.
Yep, he's been a standout.
So that helps. That'll help him get votes. Plus, being the captain, you talk to the umpires before the game, you shake their hands. That doesn't hurt.
Mitch Norton's the other one at Newry. I wouldn't be surprised if he picks a couple up. He's cross half back. He's been unbelievable.
He has had a couple of games that were fantastic. We did a game at Newry earlier in the year, and his effort at centre half back was just phenomenal.
If we look at the Barossa Bulldogs, it's probably Brandon Dews last month's been outstanding. Shillaby's going to probably get a few votes because when he kicks bags of goals.
Yes.
Anyone else at Barossa that you've liked during the year?
Ryan Gray in round 1 was fantastic, but the umpires wouldn't have known who he was because he wasn't actually listed on most of the sheets. So
no, that was against Kapunda, and we didn't know who he was, and he kicked 4 goals in a best on ground performance.
And in the commentary, we didn't know who he was, and if the umpires knew who he was, you'd think he would have gotten votes, but as an unknown, I don't know that he will. But there's a lot of players at Barossa that are going to pick up votes, like Trey Gant is good. There's a lot of guys that could grab a vote or 2. But Newry, I think Nick Grigurki's been fantastic.
Yeah,
I think he will get a lot of 2s at worst.
And probably the bottom 3 teams in Kapunda, Angus and Freeling probably aren't going to necessarily have some standouts in the medal.
No one is going to poll well.
Who's been Anguson's best player this year?
Anguson's best player, probably hard to say that there is one player in particular. There's not really been any consistency. They've had so many outs at times.
Jack Miles has
probably been their standout for the year, but he's a defender. So generally a centre-half back's not going to pick up a lot of votes, but he'll get some 2s, definitely. And they have won a couple of games. If they win a few more, he might end up with some mid-level votes, but probably won't be a threat.
And Freeling probably the same with their bigger players have actually carried some injuries this year in Koshel. Ross has missed a couple.
Young Oliver will get votes.
And I reckon, I don't mind young Polton either. He might
Polton,
get the
those
votes,
two will both get votes. Oliver's only downside is his kicking is really atrocious at times.
Yep, well, that's something that he can work on because he gets plenty of footy.
I'm not sure if it's something that can be fixed at this age. It has to be fixed at the junior level.
You can always fix something, takes if you put enough time and effort into it.
No, you see it at AFL level now that players, once they get to that sort of age, it's very hard to fix if it's something that is ingrained in them, and that's where we need to have better coaches and more coaches and volunteers at the junior level who are coaching the right way.
Yep. The last team that we haven't talked much about, besides Charlie Molly, any Gawler Centrals guys that you like that could potentially either play some zone footy or be their better players?
I think Bo Thomas could play some zone footy. He's young, and he has been kicking 2 to 5 goals on a regular basis for the Tigers, often in losing efforts. I think he, as a good-sized mid-forward, could be a player that will pick up some 1s or 2s, and I think he would be a handy inclusion in the zone squad as a young player.
I reckon he would be too, but I believe he just got called up to Central Districts this week and played in the under-18s today.
Which, considering his family lineage, would probably be a really good story.
Yep, the younger brother or step-brother of Paul Thomas, the senior coach, but I believe young Bo's been picked to play in the under-18s this week.
Well, that's fantastic for the young man, but if he does end up back here, if he was to play zone footy and be in that squad, I think it would be a great stepping stone for him.
That's about all with the potential medalists and good players from either team.
Yes, and going back to other clubs, and I think the developments this year that we've seen, and the Barossa Council have been massively involved with the big project and have really gotten behind community sport, not just football, but netball as well. And Kapunda here, some of the improvements to the netball facilities have been fantastic in the last decade.
Yep, the female footy facilities across the other side are great. They were put on via from a government grant, and they're great facilities. So if we ever hold a carnival or anything at Kapunda, we have got the 4 sets of we'll have the 4 sets of change rooms, and so Kapunda have had some good stuff happen here with their facilities over like I said, the last 5 or 6 years.
Yes, definitely. Here, Kapunda have done well. Freeling, magnificent change rooms. They've got a great area with that open deck with food and drink. Gawler Central now, they've got the opportunity to use the Greyhound facility at times, and their change rooms are now better. South Gawler probably still hoping that they can get something up and going in the near future.
Yeah. South. I think they're looking to do the right thing, and they need to they're wanting to work out whether they're better off moving from their current location out into a new greenfield site, or if they don't, they do have to do a bit of work on their facilities. But I'm sure they're aware of that. And Barossa's the other one who are sort of waiting until the big project's completed and the rugby can get the move to Tanunda, and then potentially take over the Lindock facilities, and they'll have to spend some money there, upgrade. It's just a better. So I believe as well. So just they've got a fantastic surface. Only on shelter, your elevator.
Last week you got taken in the mid-season. So we're not too Held umpire didn't pick out of the pack. Tanunda know that
As Kapunda come. On. It's marked by
good second half play. ball to his older brother. This year.
No,
Flat hole.
he kicked the ball out. Sam Brooks clean. He's going to have to step up in the
So getting a stop. for Tanunda.
Sam Colhoun gets his hand.
That was